I got a question for all of you. What are the Hunger Games for? Hey guys, this is Frozen Ding Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I am going to be doing a review on The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So, The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the latest installment in the Hunger Games franchise. Although it's by installment, I don't mean a sequel, hell no. But instead, it is a prequel to the Hunger Games based on the most recent Hunger Games book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that came out in the year 2020. And this movie came out just very recently, in 2023, and is directed by Francis Lawrence once again, just like all the other Hunger Games films except the first one. And it stars Tom Blythe, Rachel Zegler, Hunter Schafer, Jason Schwartzman, Peter Dinklage, Viola Davis, Josh Andres Rivera, etc. And so basically, The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes tells a story taking place 64 years right after the 64 years before the events of the Hunger Games. It tells the story of young Coriolanus Snow before it in his young years before becoming the evil president we know him as. Back then, he was just an innocent man who was working for the capital, and the leader of the capital is Casca Highbottom, played by Peter Dinklage. And yeah, so at that time, back then the games were completely different, and it still is one of the earlier years of the games. Yeah, so at the time, we get this thing where the members of the capital would be assigned to to a specific to a specific tribute to mentor them. I think that they don't do that anymore, as seen in the Hunger Games movies. Correct me if I'm wrong though. And so yeah, Coriolanus Snow is assigned to mentor one of the mentor the District 12 tribute. Rachel Zegler's character, Lucy Gray Baird. And so yeah, they both form a bonding together. They both pretty much get along, and yeah, so yeah, Snow's goal is to make sure that Lucy stays alive, and pretty much just protect her. But of course, Coriolanus Snow starts to develop feelings for Lucy. So during the games, he cheats by bringing things to help Lucy win by bringing things to in order to kill all the rebels who are fighting against Lucy. His cheating resulted him to be vanished away and become a soldier for a while. Pretty much join the military, and he's with his best friend, C. Janus played by Josh Andres Rivera, and yeah, he becomes a soldier, and one day he gets into conflict where he his friend Clint and a bunch of other guys were involved in killing the mayor's daughter, and so yeah, without no one actually found out that he did, but his best friend, they found out, but yeah, he was deemed innocent. And at the same time, he also starts to have this relationship with Lucy Gray Baird. That's pretty much it. And yeah, and of course, as expected, the film ends with how he became evil, because that's pretty much the plot thing. So yeah, if you saw my top 10 most anticipated movies for the rest of the year video, and if you've been around me and my Instagram, you already know that I was hyped for this film. I was extremely hyped for this movie. Not that I'm a Hunger Games fanboy, because let's be real. While I do like the Hunger Games franchise, I don't love it. But to be honest, I don't even love any of the YA novel adaptations. I do like them though. But I will say that The Hunger Games is probably my favorite of the YA novel adaptations, because the ones that that's competing against are the Maze Runner movies, like some the Twilight franchise, the Percy Jackson movies. So yeah, and Maze Runner is pretty. I kind of like Maze Runner too. As well, I do think the Maze Runner is a pretty solid adaptation trilogy. Twilight, we all know how garbage that franchise is. So let's just put that aside. But out of all the adaptation franchises, I think Hunger Games stands out to me because at least none of the films are as bad as the worst in any of the other YA adaptations. It's not Scorched Trials level bad. It's not Allegiant level bad. Oh yeah, the Divergent series is another example of YA adaptation I forgot to mention, and it's actually pretty mid. It's a mid franchise, honestly, and certainly nowhere near as bad as the worst as any of the Twilight movies. Yeah, I take Mockingjay Part 2 any day over the entire Twilight franchise. But yeah, now I love Hunger Games mainly for its girl power and the whole concept of teens just fighting each other, and also we got we got really great themes that this franchise talks about, like a lot of social commentary on political dynasty, power, control, manipulation, all that stuff. Like a lot of themes in this movie feel so relevant to today's world. And yeah, the thing with the franchise though, with the other Hunger Games films, is that the movies are a hit or miss. Two of them are great. Two of them are really good. Mockingjay Part 1 is solid. And Catching Fire is the one great Hunger Games movie in the Katniss Everdeen franchise. And then you got two of them that I don't like. The first film is extremely overrated. I'm sorry, but I don't like it. I can see where the movie's coming from, but most of the time it's just all shaky cam, and it's very unpleasant. But it does have some really good ideas, and the plot is really good, I will say. And Mockingjay Part 2, like a movie that may not be as bad as what some people say it is, but it is still a very mid end conclusion to the franchise. And I will admit, when I first heard that back in 2021, when I first heard that they were making this movie, I was like, no, really? Why another Hunger Games movie? This is unnecessary. We don't need this. Yeah, this does sound like just another cash grab that came out of nowhere. And I was like questioning, why do we need another Hunger Games movie? Who wants to see a prequel about Coriolanus Snow? Like, who wants to see that? Yeah, but then suddenly in 2022, things took a turnaround where I actually started to become optimistic about this film. The moment that it was announced that Rachel Zegler is going to be in this film. So yeah, Rachel Zegler is actually the main reason as to why I am hyped for this. Because let's be real here, Rachel Zegler is in my top 10 favorite actresses of all time list. I absolutely love Rachel Zegler. Consider me her number one fan. Consider me her biggest supporter. Because yeah, it's kind of a shame that Rachel Zegler has been getting hate nowadays. This is the first movie that's caught up in the Rachel Zegler controversy, where people will just put their foot down and be like, oh hell no, Rachel Zegler's in this movie, I'm not watching it. Yeah, like people just despise Rachel Zegler. I've talked about her enough, but I've talked about Rachel Zegler a lot, but I feel like I didn't talk about her enough. So I'll spend at least 2 minutes ranting on the Rachel Zegler haters. Because I think yes, I did a bit of that in my West Side Story review, but I feel like this is the perfect movie to ramble about Rachel Zegler haters, because again, this is the first Rachel Zegler movie that people just started to just be like, oh, to just be like, okay, this movie has Rachel Zegler in it, I'm not watching it. Okay, yeah, first of all, I get that Rachel Zegler is in the Snow White remake, and Rachel Zegler is in the Snow White remake, and yeah, and y'all know like the whole controversy. Like it all started with like the dwarf image, which like the quote unquote politically correct dwarf images, which looks which they look more like Hobbit rip-offs than that. Although later on they apparently decided to make the doors more accurate and yeah, they still not. I mean, they look better, but not by much. Yeah, they look the doors look creepy, but yeah, but apparently, yeah, I thought the whole backlash was going to go towards those cringe looking doors, but no, instead people decided that the real backlash is going to Rachel Zegler. Oh boy, yeah, the Rachel Zegler hate. Like honestly, I mean, even though I'll admit that while I'm not excited for Snow White, I do think that could be one of the more tolerable live action remakes in a while. Like I'm not excited for it, but I will say that yeah, I'm excited to see Rachel Zegler as Snow White. But yeah, how unfair that all the hate went to Rachel Zegler. Yeah, really unfair that all the backlash went to Rachel Zegler. It's just unfair. It's just really unfair. So yeah, and I know that movie got delayed 2025, March 2025. So we may be having one more year to build up to people just trashing Rachel Zegler before Snow White came out. But yeah, people are just saying that Rachel Zegler ruined Disney. Rachel Zegler ruined Hollywood. Yeah, and people are literally straight up bullying her online and sending her death threats. And they're like, oh god, and they're all just saying, oh, Rachel Zegler could kill herself. Oh, they just threaten her to the core, and that just breaks my heart, man. Like, as a huge Rachel Zegler fan, this is just heartbreaking to see all the Rachel Zegler hate in this. Because of this, my god, and it's really a shame that Rachel Zegler got kicked out of Paddington 3, or as it's called, Paddington in Peru. Yeah, it just sucks that Rachel Zegler was kicked out. I mean, she could have made Paddington 3 the best Paddington movie. Now I don't even know if it'll top Paddington 2 as the best one, but I am still, either way, I'm still high for Paddington 3 because of how good the first two were. But yeah, yeah, it's just embarrassing. Rachel Zegler is going to be in this upcoming A24 movie called Y2K, which I hope that people won't go on the internet and bashing the film and be like, oh, how dare Rachel Zegler ruin A24. But at the same time, though, I can already see the hate that film is going to get. But I think Y2K could be one of the better A24 movies. It could be it could be like, no, wait, let me rephrase that. It's my most anticipated A24 movie by far. And it could be a top 5 A24 movie. Maybe even top 3. Don't know if it'll top Everything Everywhere and The Whale, but it sure as hell could be a top tier, so yeah. And yeah, I know Rachel Zegler was in 2 films that came out before the Rachel Zegler controversy. West Side Story and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. West Side Story could have been a big hit and was probably a perfect debut for Rachel Zegler. And I was already in love with her when I first saw West Side Story. And West Side Story will always be my favorite Spielberg movie, and nothing can change that. No Spielberg movie will dethrone it, I guarantee you. But yeah, I just love Rachel Zegler in the movie. She won the Golden Globes for Best Actress, but sadly she got snubbed. And considering how unpopular the Golden Globes is, Rachel Zegler doesn't have any recognition. Yeah, and yeah, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I know, yeah, that movie barely had marketing, but to me it was marketed very well, and yeah, it's another film that Rachel Zegler is in, and then I even when I was hearing that Shazam! Fury of the Gods was going to flop at the box office, I was like trying to go on comment and just defend it. The movie saying, oh, we gotta go see it because Rachel Zegler's in it, and then their replies will be like, who's Rachel Zegler? So yeah, therefore West Side Story, shame that movie bombed, by the way. So yeah, West Side Story did not give Rachel Zegler the recognition she deserves, because apparently they don't know who it is. But then when they started to know Rachel Zegler, Rachel Zegler could have been one of the most recognizable actresses of all time, but no, instead the Rachel Zegler is seen as this evil actress, this bad actress, this bad person who, and then they're just gonna automatically hate anything she's in. And one of these movies is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah, a movie that people are already hating for no reason just because Rachel Zegler is in it. And how the hell does this have the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score in the franchise, lower than Mockingjay Part 2? How? I mean, I would personally switch both Rotten Tomatoes score around, but then again, I understand though that what Rotten Tomatoes is, you don't have to correct me. I usually roast and bash Rotten Tomatoes just for satire purposes, but I understand what the purpose of Rotten Tomatoes is, and it's not like the best review site. Yeah, but yeah, this movie is actually very quite divisive. There are some critics out there who say that this movie's bad, this movie's mid, this movie does nothing. But then you got the side of people who say that oh, this movie's amazing. This is and they would call this the best Hunger Games movie since Catching Fire. Some even go as far as calling this their favorite the Hunger Games movie in general. And on Letterboxd, it has a 3.8 on IMDb. No. It has a 3.8 rating on Letterboxd, and Letterboxd ratings are probably the most trustworthy of them all. So, yeah, 3.8. That is impressive for a movie like this, and yeah. So, yeah. Now. Yeah, oh yeah, and also it got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, where do I fall with the sides? Am I on the positive side or am I on the negative side? Well, I am happy to say that I am 1 billion% on the positive side with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I absolutely loved this movie. I thought it was amazing. And I gotta say, this is now officially my favorite Hunger Games movie. Yep, sorry Catching Fire, but you've been topped by this one right here. And yeah, is it a masterpiece and a perfect movie? No, but I will say that this is a near perfect movie. This came close to being perfect. Yeah, like where do I even get started with this? Get started with this. First of all, yeah. This felt more like Hunger Games than any of the previous ones. Yeah, I mean, based on the trailers alone, although both trailers that had me instantly hooked for this film, which is one reason as to why I was hyped for this because of how much the trailers hooked me. Yeah, I was expecting this to have very little action and be more focused on just the relationship between Coriolanus Snow and Lucy Gray. And even some of the critics who I read that are saying, oh, this is a very slow burn movie, not much, and there's a lack of action. That's what I was expecting going to it. But, I mean, to all the people who say that this has a lack of action and it's all just all romance and talking and all that stuff, I gotta ask, did you actually see this movie? Come on now. Like, if that's why you don't like the movie, I mean, you probably only focus on the third act, but like, yeah, but there was actually far more action season than I predicted, and probably some of the most. This is probably one of the most amount of action scenes I've seen in this entire franchise. I'm not sure if I would say that's more franchise than the other films, but yeah, it's in scale. It's certainly bigger in scale. Yeah, especially in the second act. Which yeah, the second act is definitely the standard of all three acts. All three acts. Yeah, the Battle Royale, the Hunger Games Battle Royale is even more intense than anything you've seen in this franchise. And I gotta say, this is probably the most violent PG-13 movie I've ever seen since Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Yeah, it's that brutal, it's that gruesome, and very dark as well. Despite this being a prequel to the Hunger Games, feels like it pushes things to the next level. The production value is upgraded despite still giving audiences the feel of old times Panem. Yeah, like there are some things in this that feels very technically advanced, with more technologically advanced, which could be could be a hot take. No, which could be unrealistic, but whatever. But yeah, whatever. I mean, this is Pan Am. This is not the real world. So, and this is kind of a futuristic world, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in that, but so I can kind of get past that. And I absolutely love how the three act structure is used. You know, in this art house film, in these art house films, these big art house films, or are not art house, but most of them rather just these Oscar films, where like these Oscar baity films where they would use this three act structure title card where like part one, and then the title, part two this, part three that, like every time the movie transitions from act to act. You know how they did that? They apparently did it in this movie too, and yeah, it is edited flawlessly, and you really feel like there was actually a three act structure in the story. And yeah, we don't get a lot of these. We don't feel the three act structure. We like a lot of movies. I just don't really notice the three act structure, like, and specifically when they transition. But these, I love how these title cards really help us identify what's next. But yeah, it all depends on the story that you're following. Yeah, the first act is mostly focused on Coriolanus Snow being in Panem, getting ready, and mentoring Lucy. And it's just this whole setup for the games. Part two, Act two focuses on the games and focuses on specifically on the games, and part three goes a little bit more into the art house territory. Like it becomes slow burn, and now we get a lot more character study of Coriolanus' life that makes him go downhill. And yeah, and yes, this is a character study of how Coriolanus though fell from grace. And we even got a more clear explanation as to why Snow is evil. We actually get more motivation that this feels like Joker meets Revenge of the Sith. The Joker aspect being the character study. Coriolanus Snow can be all like in the end of the movie. Coriolanus Snow is just as crazy as Joker was, as Arthur Fleck was, and the Revenge of the Sith aspect is the political stuff, the stuff around the character, the central character. We even learn about the more about the lore of Hunger Games. This almost feels like a history lesson, a history of a fictional universe that makes you get on board with the lore, with the lore. And we even reveal the movie even reveals the name of where Katniss, the name Katniss comes from. It comes from a flower that Lucy picked up, and then we hear Lucy just saying, "This is Katniss," while holding a flower. Yeah, you could tell that Katniss's mother named her after that flower. Yeah, all the performances are fantastic, and this is such a big cast, like such a huge cast. You got Tom Blythe as the lead character as Snow, who I want to see more of. Yeah, I want to see more of this guy. Tom Blythe is amazing. You got you got also Hunter Schafer, Peter Dinklage, Viola Davis as an amazing creepy villain. Viola Davis' character is in my top 10 favorite antagonists of 2013. Yeah, she's so ruthless and creepy, and doesn't even shove evil down your throats. She just lets the audience figure out the audiences just figure out that. No, I mean, no, let me phrase that. The movie just convinces the audiences to let them figure out for themselves that Viola Davis' character is actually the main antagonist, but she doesn't be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you. I did this. I was behind this." Yeah, and also Jason Schwartzman, who brings in some charm and humor to the film. And of course, the MVP of the movie, Rachel Zegler. Yeah, no surprise I'd say this, but Rachel Zegler is the standout here. Yeah, despite all those toxic Rachel Zegler bashes out there in the internet, the people who actually judge movies normally and don't hate on actresses just for expressing her opinion and actually support Rachel Zegler all agree that she was the best part of this movie. I don't mind that this movie isn't about this movie is more about Coriolanus and not about Lucy, but at least Lucy still gets her time to shine. And I gotta say, yeah, if you thought that Katniss was great enough as the Hunger Games lead heroine, oh boy, Lucy Gray puts Katniss Everdeen to absolute shame, and I mean that, yeah. And yeah, Lucy is such a very interesting character, such a rebel. She feels like an outcast, and you really root for her to survive, to get out of the games, especially with all of these characters, all these, just dicks who apparently hate Lucy Gray. Yeah, Lucy Gray, and you really root for her to kick their asses. I mean, especially in District 12, in that, the tribute scene where they pick the tribute and they say Lucy Gray, and when they're walking, you see like the crowd just bullying Rachel Zegler behind their back, and the Rachel Zegler just put the snake on the woman. Yeah, I love how fierce and she is. She literally stands up. She stands up against the bullies. And yeah, all the rebels here are, I hate them. I mean, I can't believe we have a Hunger Games movie where the rebels are more hateable than are even more hateable than the capital. I mean, the capital is still evil. The capital is still evil, and they push it. Wait, how do I say this? Yeah, the capital is still evil. Don't get me wrong. Like they still got their things up their sleeves, but this time around, it feels like you're rooting for the capital more than the rebels. Yeah, especially when we see these rebels just we see these rebels just try to kill Lucy. Like apparently, yeah, the Hunger Games is supposed to be teens fighting each other, but all the rebels just decided to just team up with each other to hunt down Lucy, and you really want her to survive. You're like, no, don't kill Lucy. She's such a good character. Don't kill her like that. Don't kill her like that. And yeah, Rachel Zegler's performance was amazing. I gotta say, this is her best performance since Maria from West Side Story. Now, don't get me wrong, Maria will always be the best Rachel Zegler performance, and nothing can top it. Well, we'll see about that. But I gotta say, out of all the two Rachel Zegler movies of 2023, what I personally think Shazam Fury of the Gods is the better Rachel Zegler movie this year. I think she gave a better performance as Lucy than Anthea, because Anthea was just a background character, but Lucy just feels more like a main character. Main character, and yeah, her acting, her performance is just so powerful, and yeah, she definitely carries the movie. And also the movie has a lot of singing. I know that's actually one of the criticisms I hear, like where the movie has so far too much singing, but actually I didn't mind. It didn't take away the story, and hearing Rachel Zegler's singing voice once again is godlike. Yeah, I can tell Rachel Zegler is gonna have a great singing voice in the Snow White remake. Yeah, I got a feeling about that. Yeah, Rachel Zegler has a godlike voice. Yeah, first with her singing in West Side Story, and now her singing in this film. Yeah, I mean Lucy, and I love how Lucy's character is the one who wrote who created the infamous Hanging Tree song. Are you coming to the tree? Let's drum out the mountain, they say who murdered thee. And then there's even another memorable song. Yeah, wait, I forgot I forgot. I actually don't remember that much. But there's another song I love that she sings. Yeah, she sings to like stand up for herself, or like she was like beaten down in the stage. Like during the voting scene, that she was like beaten down in the stage, and then she sings like she's like down. And yeah, by the way, yeah, screw you, screw those people who beat up Lucy Gray like that. Yeah. And then you hear, the whole crowd singing Lucy Gray's song. Yeah, I forgot how the song went, but I think it's like, you can take my something. Yeah, you can take my charm, you can take my something like that. But I don't really remember it. But yeah, Hanging Tree is definitely the standout song of this film. The standout song of this film. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, Rachel Zegler isn't the only the West Side Story cast member to be in this one. As we also got Josh Andres Rivera, who you may know as Chino from West Side Story. Yeah, I honestly, while Rachel Zegler's performance in this movie may not be as good as Murray and West Side Story, I think Josh Anders Rivera gave was slightly better here than West Side Story to me. I mean, still a Gino, but yeah, I'd certainly put Plinth in my top five favorite characters in this movie. Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing. Like his acting went hard, especially when he saw in his in the camera his friend that got hanged. Like oh my god, that is brutal. And then Clint is like, "You're monsters, all of you." Yeah, like you saw it in both trailers. Yeah, and wow, that was a very intense moment right here. And yeah, but yeah, and yeah, imagine if Antle Elgort played Coriolanus Snow. That would be cool. But I think Tom Blythe was the perfect yeah. And yeah, Tom Blythe's performance in this movie, I didn't talk about him enough earlier on. I think he deserves to be talked about more to me. Yeah, my God, he was amazing in this movie. Like his acting is amazing, especially in the end where like he now I'm not talking about spoilers, but if you're okay with it, then yeah, just you can keep watching if you're. I mean, if you're okay with spoilers, because I'm sure some of you would be okay with it, but yeah, if you're really that excited for the movie and don't want spoilers, then I suggest nah, just go watch the movie. Just go watch the movie for yourself and come back here with this part. But yeah, like in the third act where Coriolanus Snow believed that Rachel Zegler is that Lucy turned up against him, and then we even see like this like snake under Lucy Gray's cloth, and the snake bit him, and then he really got so pissed off that he that he's like screaming Lucy, Lucy, Lucy. Yeah, that was intense. Yeah, that was a pure acting right there. And that scene alone, that forest scene in the third act, is where we truly see Coriolanus' downfall, because everyone hates him now. You know, the the capital hates him. Dean Highbottom hates him for Dean Highbottom hates him for cheating. Everyone has turned against him. And even he believed that Lucy did, and yeah. And yeah, so yeah, his evil arc began. But like he literally poisoned Dean Highbottom, yeah, Casca Highbottom. He literally poisoned him, and then he yeah, and that ending shot where he walked up to the statue and with this evil grin on him. Yeah, that was very intense. That was a very intense, chilling ending. Chilling ending. Oh, and speaking of chilling, the score as well. Oh boy, the score in this movie is amazing. There's such a damn good score. James Nina Howard knocked it out of the park. I certainly don't regret including him in my top 10 favorite composers of all time. Yeah, he is just amazing. Such an amazing composer. Oh yeah, and also another thing, I defend that 2 hour and 40 minutes runtime. I will admit though that when I saw that the movie was 2 hours and 40 minutes, when I found out according to Letterboxd and IMDb, I was actually expecting that to be one of my flaws with the movie. I was like thinking, okay, this is gonna be a movie where I feel the runtime and I'm gonna criticize the runtime, but I still think I'll love this film. But yeah, the fact that the movie did not actually feel as long as the movie didn't feel that long is probably the biggest surprise of this movie. I did not feel the runtime one bit whatsoever. I think that 2 hour and 40 minute runtime flew by smoothly. And not once was I bored with it. Not even when it's a slow burn third act of the movie where the movie starts to feel a little artsy, but it just works so well. Works so well, and yeah. Never was I once bored watching it. I was like engaged throughout this long runtime, and I don't mind this being the longest Hunger Games movie ever. Yeah. At least I got to see this in a recliner seat. And honestly, not gonna lie, my theatrical experience of this movie was not that great. Yeah, before I forget, I just want to point it out. My theatrical experience was not very good. the reason why being that, I mean, nothing really bad happened. It's just that I was seated on the side. I was seated on the side, like in like the third row, and then like I thought, the chair was going to be considered enough to at least face the side, so you can see the screen. But the angle, that angle kind of made it a little not very easy to watch. So not the best theatrical experience, but at least even though my body was like slightly uncomfortable because of that, I still had I still was engaged and hooked with the movie from start to finish. Yeah. Um, so yeah, but yeah. Now let's get into my one criticism in the movie, my one minor flaw with the movie that keeps us away from being a masterpiece. From being a masterpiece. Yeah, while I don't think the ending is nearly as anticlimactic and rushed as others say it is, there is one major plot hole at the end that I had to point out. I really had to point this out. What happened to Lucy Gray Baird at the end? So yeah, for details about this, so I just thought about the forest scene earlier, and then we see, like the I love how also the movie led us to believe that Rachel said that Lucy's actually going to turn into a villain, and yeah, I mean that forest scene was very suspenseful. Like I was like really like nailed by. I was like on my toes. I was like really like I was like really worried. I was like worried. I was like, oh no, what's gonna happen to Lucy? Is she gonna try to kill Coriolanus? Is she going to become evil? And is she like even gonna die? And then we see Rachel just singing Hanging Tree out of thin air, which pisses off Coriolanus Snow, which probably explains why Coriolanus hates that song, as we know in Mockingjay Part 1. And yeah, Coriolanus gets triggered about it, and yeah. And suddenly he's like, we see just him trying to shoot Lucy. Yeah, that was a time when he just realized that he was hunting for Lucy to kill her after Lucy put that snake to bite him. Yeah. Seems like Lucy really knew Coriolanus's true nature. So yeah, and then we see Lucy just running, and then Coriolanus shooting her. We think that Lucy is dead, but actually she just disappeared into thin air. And then the movie just suddenly forgets about her. Yeah, Coriolanus goes home, and then the movie just doesn't tell us what happened to Lucy, and that's pretty much where my one flaw came in. Yeah, what happened? That just made no sense. I mean, like, what did it do to Lucy? Like, we don't get a proper conclusion to Lucy's arc. I understand that if Lucy would die because she's not in the Hunger Games prequel, and we never get. She's not in the Hunger Games, the actual Hunger Games movies, and so yeah. I was actually very curious on what happened, on where Lucy's character ended up, and if she just if that's how they conclude her arc, then oh boy. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's my one flaw. But yeah, besides that one flaw, yeah. So overall, the Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is an underrated gem. Yeah, this movie is amazing. Yeah. While it isn't a perfect movie, this is not only my favorite Hunger Games movie, but my favorite my favorite film of any YA novel adaptations. It's certainly better than all the Katniss Everdeen Hunger Games movies. Better than the entire Divergent trilogy. Better than the entire Maze Runner trilogy, and 1,000,000,000% better than Twilight. I mean, I can't imagine a single human being who would prefer a Twilight movie over this amazing film right here. And yeah, while Lucy's arc could have been concluded better, everything else about the film is just near perfect. From the writing to the execution of it, and the way it tackles themes of control, power, manipulation, and it continues those trends It continues, those reoccurring themes from the previous films. And yeah, it was just so refreshing to see the games back. We haven't seen the battle royale aspect since the first two films, and it was really nice. And the scale of it all is just much bigger this time. Like it feels like it truly takes things to the next level. So yeah, please ignore Rotten Tomatoes and listen to Letterboxd, a 3.8 out of 5 grade, and listen to all the positive reviews, especially from me. So yeah, with that said, I'm going to give the Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes 4.5 stars out of 5. Very, 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 very close to getting 5 stars. In fact, probably the closest out of all 4.5 stars to get 5 stars. It's that good. Please watch this movie. Who cares if you don't like Rachel Zegler? Just watch this movie. And yeah. So that's all for my review of The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. What are your thoughts on the film? Who agrees with me that this is the best Hunger Games movie? Or do you still prefer the first two films over this? And did you love the film as much as I do, or did you not care for it? Just like what a lot of the critics are saying. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for the continuation of my Disney Revival Age reviews leading up to Wish with Raya and the Last Dragon. Yep, it's back, and yeah, there's 2 more to go now. Raya and Strange World. So yeah, bye guys.